It has been a while. How is it going? How's everybody doing? It's been a while, you know. Yeah, it's been a while. So it has been a while. So again, this has been a very, very eventful week. You know, there's just been so many things going on. The most important one, obviously, is Somalia's independence from Gumaystayaashii dhibka badnaa oo Ilaahay naga waday. Yeah. So, in celebration of that, I have been listening to beautiful songs left and right. That's one of my favorite one. Mid kalo favorite kegana waan dhageysan doonaa inshallah. But anyways, I'm really glad that you guys are here. I'm really glad that I get an opportunity again to, you know, chit chat with you guys. So, our wonderful independence, you know, it's kind of bittersweet, right? July 1st, so independence from Italy. And just before that, right, we had the independence from, or the British Somaliland getting independence from, you know, UK. And it's interesting, right, because there was a lot of like celebrations this week of independence. It was very interesting to see the number of countries that were celebrating independence from these European colonists, you know. And I just thought to myself, wow, goodness gracious, wow, you know. And I think about Berlin Conference and the scramble for the scramble for Africa, and how they just, you know, just stood there and decided our fates and decided how to cut up and demarcate our lands as though nobody lived there, you know. And every time I think about it, I just get so angry. It makes me so angry. It's just so upsetting. And it's not that we didn't resist. You know, history is filled with a resistance against European powers. So it's a celebrated moment. This is actually one of my other favorite songs. And let's look at it for a moment. It's one of my favorite ladies. right? habeenkii quruumaha aan qiimo ku yeeshay aan ka qayb galnay adduunka samaha. Thank goodness. Anyways, that was a moment for ages, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. And I know inaad aad u dabaaldegteen idinka xataa. I saw you guys, you know, Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. Marka aniga corona ka cabsanay marka gurigaygan ku dabaaldegay, okay? Dadkiina iga geesisan. You guys are much more brave than me. I was just at home, you know, minding my business, staying away from the virus. You know, speaking of the virus, right? It's really, really sad and kind of interesting at the same time that we have these vaccine trials right now happening in Africa. So we're having them happen in South Africa in particular because WHO officials and South African government did not want the continent to be left behind. And I feel some type of way about it, you know, not having the continent left behind, or is this like some remagal way to test on Africans without their knowledge? So there are protests happening in South Africa right now. And people are protesting these trials and saying that the government is testing on unsuspecting people that, you know, vulnerable groups of people, and just kind of not being very transparent, and just that resistance to neocolonialism of having Africa being used as a guinea pig. So there's that happening as well. I don't know, you know, I'm very anxious about a vaccine. You know, I, like a lot of other people, really would like the world to just start moving again. And I have serious cabin fever and I'm tired of being at home. But, you know, I also feel some type of way about this vaccine being tested on Africans. So that makes me very wary, you know. Makes me very wary, and it makes me think, really, does the state have the people's best interests at heart? Coincidentally, there are also trials happening in the UK, right? So one hopes that people are informed and that they're given informed consent about these vaccines that they are trying. Right now, it doesn't look like the world's going to open up anytime soon, although I have heard that some flights are being open and people are traveling. You know, the coronavirus is still there, and as much precautions that people are taking or trying to take is just, it's just not enough, in my opinion, you know. It's still there. We don't have a vaccine, and as an educator, I'm very anxious too about school reopening. We don't quite know how that's going to happen, not for myself, not for my son. So there's a lot of uncertainty about the future. And that uncertainty just causes people to be very anxious. And I admit, I have had quite an anxious week. This week has been very, very anxious for me. So how has it been for you guys? What kind of week have you had? Did you have a good week? Are you you know, getting into new things? Are you trying to keep yourself busy somehow? Have you gone outside and just, you know, said, you know what, it is what it is. Things are open, so I'm gonna go. Some friends have been telling me that they have started to go outside, go to restaurants. I have gone to a restaurant, not inside though. I have just gotten takeout because I just can't imagine sitting there eating like everything's okay when things really aren't that okay. So it just seemed to me that isn't really the best idea. So I thought to myself, let me just stay home and let me just, you know, do my thing and just wait this out, you know, while I can, while I'm not forced to go out. So school hasn't opened yet, but I'm anxiously awaiting. You know, speaking of school, right, there is a movement right now, obviously. There's a movement for Black Lives Matter and anti-racism. And I'm thinking, as an educator, what obviously, I'm always thinking as an educator what the role of the school is in the practice of freedom, in the practice of, you know, liberating the people. So education has obviously a big role. So we're looking at how the schools are going to take part in this and what kind of education is going to be offered to educators and students alike so that we can practice anti-racism and not just talk about it, because we've been doing a lot of talking, and a lot of organizations have been showing their support, verbally. Right. I've received emails from, my school, emails from my child's school, emails from, organizations or establishments, merchandise that I, frequent or buy from. And they all say that they're committed to anti-racism. Right. And that's, for me, so far, it's all talk. So in education, I'm thinking as a teacher, what kind of professional developments are we going to have? Who's going to lead these professional developments? Are you going to give Black educators the opportunity to talk about anti-racism because they have firsthand experience? And are you going to compensate that? Are you going to compensate them for that? Are you going to compensate us for that? Because this is a laborious job. It's a laborious task to talk about the racism that you encounter. And then put it in an educational format for other people, right? So not only is it theory, but it's also practice, and it's a psychological. There's pain involved in it. So how are you going to educate? How are you going to compensate Black educators for that? And first off, are you actually giving that first opportunity to talk about this and to do this work to Black educators? So that would be my question to educational facilities like colleges and obviously K-12, which is what I work in. And there's obviously something that I'm going to talk about with my employment as well. And I'm obviously hoping that they're open to that. But for me personally, to do that kind of work, I have to look at everything. I have to look at the emotional labor that this is going to cost me, and how much it's obviously going to take me away from the job that I'm, hired to do. So this is extra. This is on top of what I'm already doing. So for me personally, I would always, expect to be appropriately compensating for that. All right, work and emotional labor is not free. I was trying to say it's not free, and I said it's not B. All right, anti-racism in education. Okay. All right, let us see what is going on in the world. Oh, there's a lot of unrest right now in Ethiopia. A lot of unrest. And I'm sure you guys have heard about it. All right, but just a quick recap. A famous singer, I am not quite certain this is how you say his name, but I'm going to try. Hanchala Hundessa, not Hundressa. Hundessa. I apologize for anybody whose name sounds familiar to this and to the guy. God rest his soul. He is deceased. He was killed while driving his car in Addis. He was not just a popular singer. He was also a political activist. And just before this incident, he actually gave a he had an interview with a prominent Oromo media network, that's what it's called, the previous week to his shooting, where he criticized the government. And there's major things happening there. The country is shut off. Internet services and cell phone services are cut off. And for saying that it's a democracy, that doesn't sound very democratic. It's very contradictory to democracy. The Oromo is the largest ethnic group in Ethiopia, and they have the largest, or they occupy the largest region, or they reside or live in the most, biggest region, as Ethiopia is segmented into ethno-linguistic areas, right? Second largest happens to be the Somali inhabited area. So the Oromo have long complained that Ethiopia basically sidelines them economically, socially, politically, and there has been previous protests as well. This isn't the first time that a protest has occurred, and this is not the first time that the kind of pushback of the government is to censor and to basically black out the country and, turn off the internet and turn off the cell phone services so that the citizens can't communicate with each other and give each other information, but they also can't get support and information from outside of the country. So that seems to me very problematic. I was following the story very closely last week, and I thought to myself, my goodness, what is happening there? And what is our guy? What is our guy, not our guy, but I'm just saying it, Abiy Ahmed doing? He did win a Nobel Peace Prize not too long ago. Very interesting things, you know, and he is also Oromo, or hails from that region. And despite that, hasn't really done much for the Oromo people. So there's that complaint as well. In fact, there was a potential contender against him who is from that same region, who is the head of the Oromo Media Network, which has been shut down by the government. So the government has shown a lot of power, and not in a good way, of shutting down things. I like Ethiopia, okay, and I would like to visit, so don't shut me out. I'm just talking about the incidences that are happening right now, and the general sentiment that just really isn't very democratic, to shut people off from the world and from each other. Anyways, I'm in a very patriotic mood, so let's go back to our song. Oh, what happened? Love this song. Love this song. Yeah, Midakala. I just love listening to Somali music, you know, and I'm always like listening to Somali music, finding new songs, singing along with them, which you won't hear. And I just love it. It really puts me in a really good mood. Whenever I am cooking, I listen to music, right? And my son always tells me when he sees me like just kind of focus on what I'm doing and I don't have music and I'm not dancing and singing along, he's like, Hoyle, you should put on your music. You know, you're happier when you put on your music. So I love Somali music. Love it. Marka. All right. Oh, hello, people saying hey here. Hi. Okay, so let's talk about the LOL moment of the week. LOL moment, let's just kind of segue into an LOL moment, because the LOL moment of the week is right here in the United States. And, you know, I don't know if you guys know this guy. You know, I don't know if you guys know this guy. He's you know, he's just, he's a funny guy. You should be honored by my lateness, that I would even show up for this fake-ish. Kanye West. So Kanye West just, was it yesterday, pronounced that he was going to run for president. And it's hilarious, you know, and it's kind of very on brand for him, right? He's like, oh, I'm going to run for president. And it is like, what, July 4th? Also, America's independence from the United Kingdom, by the way. Yesterday was America's birthday. Happy birthday to America. But, you know, as Black folk, which Kanye West is a Black person, Black people were not free on July 4th, 1776. So, I mean, it's America's Independence Day, but, you know, is it Independence Day for Black people, indigenous to the United States? Not quite, not quite. We talked about that last time. It was June 19, 1865, Juneteenth, when the last remaining enslaved people were finally told that they were actually free. Okay, so that's when Africans, descendant of enslaved Africans brought to the United States against their will, were finally told that they were free. So July 4th, America's birthday, we are still thinking about the significance, not really thinking about it, because Langston's Hughes, okay, my Africanness and this is not my first languageness is coming out because I can barely say his name. But Langston Hughes says, I too sing America. I am the darker brother. They send me to eat in the kitchen when company comes, but I laugh and eat well and grow strong. Tomorrow I'll be at the table when company comes. Nobody'll dare say to me, eat in the kitchen then. Besides, they'll see how beautiful I am and be ashamed. I too am America. So that was Langston Hughes, American writer, very prolific American writer, right? But anyways, Kanye West is running for president. However, sadly for him, there isn't many places that he's still eligible to run. There's only a few states where he can actually run. Only 13 states: Alaska, Connecticut, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Iowa, Kansas, Minnesota, Nevada. Somalis, make sure you vote for Kanye or not. Nevada, North Dakota, South Dakota, Washington, and Wyoming. Okay, so, and in Washington and South Dakota, he'd actually have to be accepted by a qualified party. So Kanye, so on brand for him to announce at the last minute that he's going to do that. However, it's kind of late. And that is my LOL moment for the week that made me chuckle. You know, I wanted to segue after that LOL moment into something more serious that we've been talking about for this entire week. You know, these past weeks have been really trying on the psyche. It's just been really, really trying to talk about the things that have been going on in the world. You know, coronavirus is making us, stay home, making us just, think about things. You know, when you're busy, you're afforded the luxury of not having that free space, if that's considered a luxury. I don't know. But anyways, in this instance, where a lot of us, are at home, well, some of us that are, I guess not having to work outside are at home, we just have time to think. And people also have time and that anger, to talk about things that have been going on that we've never addressed before, in the interest of, respectability, in the interest of, keeping our dirty laundry out of sight. But there's been so many things going on. And one of the things that have been going on in our community as Somalis is we're talking about sexual assault. So trigger warning, sexual assault and rape, and about it a lot more. And one story, actually two things that caught my eye this week, right? One was this interview of this one man, supposedly, I guess, a Duksi Quran Ma'alin, who was talking about huge trigger warning, guys, okay? Huge trigger warning. This is heavy, and I apologize in advance. He said something along the lines of how he raped an 8-year-old girl who was his pupil. That was his student. They just talked about it so nonchalantly, like he was talking about the weather or something, And it just kind of broke my heart and made me really, really angry. And I'm still angry about it. And I think about how these things happen and people are just now talking about it, because people say something along the lines of, oh my gosh, something terrible is happening to us. What is happening to us as a community? Like, why is this happening? And it's like, these things have been happening and people are just now finding the voice and the courage to talk about it, because they're difficult things to talk about, one. And two, the onus of responsibility of keeping your women safe and girls safe, young children, even. a lot of times that onus of responsibility is put on the children themselves, the girls themselves, the women themselves. And I'm hoping that we're reaching a point where we're talking about these things openly, and we're putting the shame where it belongs, to the perpetrators, not to victims, not to survivors. And there's nothing, not even, I'm never going to justify sexual assault, never going to justify rape, none of that stuff, right? But the kind of things that are said to, girls who are of age, or teenagers or older, or young women, is like, where was she? What was she wearing? Why was she there? And when you're talking about a child who was where they were supposed to be, not that those other instances are okay at all. Those victim blaming is not okay. But I'm saying, what could an 8-year-old girl who was at her duksi have done differently to have prevented that? Nothing at all. Right? So we need to put the blame and the responsibility where it belongs. And there was another incident that really broke my heart. It happened in northeastern district here in Kenya. And it was a young lady who father passed away, is being raised by her mother. And she, was also assaulted sexually. And instead of receiving any justice in any legal system established, she, the clan members of the man who did this and her clan members, male elders, exchanged money. The Dembilaha basically paid money to clan elders, and you see a video of, I'll share the link here on the post, of the mom just heartbreaking, just on the ground, unable to quieten herself, unable to believe this. It's unbelievable, And it's the kind of injustices that happen, in the name of culture, we're just going to settle this under a tree, and some men are going to exchange some money, and there's no justice at all for the women. And these kind of things need to stop. It's not okay at all. And I think we should speak up more about it and just refuse that it's not okay at all. And it's never, ever going to be okay. And we need to just, not accept this anymore. That mom, when I saw her, really broke my heart. It just really broke my heart. I felt for her as a mom, as a woman, So the Somali Me Too movement is still receiving, excuse me, the Somali Me Too movement is still, ongoing. Not too long ago, Good Sis had a gender-based violence conference here at Rada Hussein page. Follow her on Facebook, along with Dr. Hodan, who was also facilitating that discussion. And I'm really glad that, a lot of women are speaking up against this, and just really saying no more. It should have never happened before, but no more. We just absolutely refuse. With that, I just want to leave you with, please make sure that I talked about it not too long ago here on my Instagram, to trust your kids, to make sure that they, are heard and listened to when they say that someone makes them uncomfortable. And a good sis of mine talked also about I have the link on my Facebook as well of the story. And I've talked about Alis before too, But when parents outsource their parenting and take, young people to different countries and leave them with relatives, it makes these things, the sexual assault and misconduct even more possible, right? Because here you have a young person who's left alone in a place unfamiliar to them, with people unfamiliar to them. And sometimes these people cannot be trusted, right? And you're putting that child in a dangerous position, leaving them in a really dangerous position. So it's one of the things also that was discussed at this gender-based conference. And I absolutely, Sister Farhia said, do not outsource your parenting to relatives, and I really truly believe that you know, parenting is difficult. I have a teenager right now. Parenting is difficult, but it's your job and you can't outsource it. You know, so let's protect our children and let's keep them near us, and not leave them to the wolves. I, in the spirit of independence, have one more song for you. And you know, today, just gonna call it a day here soon. All right, I know you guys know these guys. They are quite wonderful. Love them both. They're in Columbus now. No, both of them are in Columbus. Nimran just joined us not too long ago. Oh, internet, don't disappoint me now. Okay, all right. Wonderful song.
كان صومالي قبطنا سلع ويمرتاح حتى سحري متى عبرتنا واسوني هدو جيرو سبن حماد وحاحي قبلي سماد زقزاقنا وردمان بورا سربا ودين كان صومالي قبطنا سلع ويمرتاح حتى سحري متى عبرتنا واسوني هدو جيرو سبن حماد وحاحي قبلي سماد زقزاقنا وردمان قالوا سندا جيرو سبقوا ورسيين عيان سبقوا أبكي سرو سمادا علمك كلنا أيا سكري أبكي سوسن بنا صري قالوا سندا جيرو ورسي عيان سبقوا أبكي سرو سمادا علمك كلنا أيا سكري أبكي سوسن بنا